When it comes to growing blog traffic, LinkedIn is one of the most underutilized platforms out there. It offers a massive opportunity to promote your content and offers and get in front of people who want to learn, connect, and collaborate. And to show you exactly how to make this happen, I've brought on business coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider, Hailey Rowe. Hailey helps creators and business owners attract their ideal audience through proven LinkedIn strategies. And today, she'll be sharing her best tips to help you do the same. Now, just 2 quick notes before we dive in. If you like this idea of free mini workshops, make sure to subscribe as I've got other guest experts as well as my own trainings lined up. Also, I've created a free LinkedIn traffic cheat sheet to pair with this workshop. It's included in my free travel blogger resource library, linked in the video description, or via the QR code on your screen. Inside, you'll get access to 75 plus resources, all meant to help you grow your traffic, email list, and income. Feel free to even pause this video to go grab those resources. You back? Then let's dive in.
Today we're going to talk about 3 clever ways to grow your blog using LinkedIn, even if you have a small audience. My name is Hailey Rowe. I'm a LinkedIn lead gen service provider since 2019. I've also been a marketing and sales strategist and coach for online business owners since 2017. And I'm grateful to have been featured as one of the top 25 coaches in Chicago by Chicago Entrepreneur Magazine. And I'm so excited today to dive into why you should be using LinkedIn for your blog compared to other platforms, how you can optimize your profile using a couple quick tips, and 3 clever ways to start growing your blog traffic using LinkedIn. So let's start with why would you want to use LinkedIn in the first place? The first reason is 45% of LinkedIn users have an income of $75K or more. So that means that they have more purchasing power on average compared to Facebook, Instagram, some of the other platforms. So if you want people who can buy your affiliate products or who can afford what it is that you sell, that might be a good platform for you, LinkedIn. Now, the other thing is you don't have to post all the time on LinkedIn to be successful. So if you're not somebody who likes to do tons of Instagram reels or do lives all the time on Facebook, you might really like LinkedIn because you don't have to post constantly to still get traffic to your blog. And I'm going to show you how today. Also, it's a networking platform, so people expect connecting, networking, learning more about you. So let's get started with how to optimize your profile. At the top of your profile page on LinkedIn, you're going to have your name, and then below that, you're going to have what we call a mini bio. We call this the headline bio. And it's a limited amount of characters, so you have to use it wisely. But if you're a travel blogger, I wanted to give you an example. You could say travel blogger and then separate the different things you want to share with your audience by a vertical line, and then you could share something like what makes your travel blog unique. So in this case, I said exploring hidden gems and luxury escapes, but you could tweak that to whatever it is about your blog that is unique or a differentiator. And then you can also share what it is that your blog helps with the most, because we want within 2 seconds of people coming to your profile for them to understand what it is that you do and how you can help them. You also want to have your website in the top of your profile. I'll show you a picture in a minute of what that looks like, and you want to have a professional headshot. So to give a prime example of Jessie, who is a travel blogger, here is her profile. Notice how she has her name right at the top, and then she has her headline bio sharing what it is that she does. And she also includes some authority by sharing her podcast. But if you don't have a podcast, that's okay. You can share any awards you've won or just what I put in the example here where you share what's unique about your blog. And then, of course, having your website like she does here at the bottom. Now, the next thing you're going to need on your profile is a featured section. If you want to send traffic to your blog, we need to make sure that right when people come to your profile, they can see some of your best blogs and click on them. So a featured section on your profile allows you to pin which posts you want people to see on your LinkedIn profile first. And you can select to add a profile section when you go to your profile on LinkedIn, and you'll see it there and you can add it on. It's free to add, and once you have it, You can put your best blogs there. You can put any awards you won or credibility boosters. Like if you were on a cool podcast or something like that, you could include that. You also want to include your lead magnet if you have one. So if you have a free guide or something to get people opted into your email list, you could include that in a post where you're promoting it and link to your lead magnet and have that post be in your featured section. The other part that you're going to want to add to your profile is a recommendation section. This can be for reviews from anybody who has interviewed on a podcast or somebody who's bought your affiliate products in the past or read your blog in the past and wants to leave a blog review. So a recommendation section is really like a testimonial section on a website, only it's on your LinkedIn profile. So get creative about who you ask for recommendations. If you are a blogger and you don't work one-on-one with clients, you can still get recommendations from people you've collaborated with, people where you've been on their podcast, things like that. So as you can see, Jessie here has a featured section on her profile, and she has her how to choose the perfect digital product, which is a good value booster that she wants to share. She has one of her blogs here that she wants to drive traffic to, and she has something about her offer here, how to create and launch a membership program. So these are great examples of pinned featured posts that she is getting more eyeballs on by having them in her featured section. Now, the next section of your profile is the About section. This is where you're going to want to share a relatable hook, meaning what is it that makes people want to know more about you? What makes you relatable? What makes you passionate about having a travel blog? Why do you travel? What's your mission? And then you also want to have what readers can get from your blog that drives up their desire to go to your blog and read it. So maybe you share budget hacks. Maybe you share luxury tips. Maybe you share hidden gems where you go. And the other thing you want to include in your About section is a touch of credibility or a unique angle. So what I mean by that is if you work with a certain niche, you could share that, or whatever it is that differentiates your blog, or anything about what makes you an expert on the area of expertise that you share about on your blog. Then you close out your About section with a clear call to action. In other words, where do they go to, check out your blog, and why should they click on it today? Now, you're not going to be able to put a link in your About section, which is fine, but you can still share at the bottom of your About section a link to your website and say, check out my latest blog about blah, 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 or whatever, wherever you want to send. But notice how Jessie here has a little intro about what she does, a little bit about what she's passionate about and why she does what she does. Then she goes on to share some of her credibility boosters. Why is she credible to talk about what she talks about? And then what she offers. So she offers coaching, courses, speaking engagements. But if you just offer your blog, you can just mention that. It's no big deal. And then, of course, she puts a little bit more about the background at the bottom. So if you don't have your profile set up, that's the first step. You need to have a profile that people want to look at, that is engaging and that communicates what you do and why people would even want to check out your blog before we get into these other growth strategies. Now let's talk about the growth strategies. So growth strategy number 1 is to connect with collab partners weekly. So how do we do that? We do that through sending connection requests on LinkedIn. A connection request is a little connection button you're going to see on their profile when you want to connect with them. It's kind of like a Facebook friend request, but on LinkedIn. And we want to send it to fellow travel bloggers, YouTubers, podcast hosts, influencers in adjacent spaces, meaning maybe they're a foodie, maybe they're a photographer. Maybe you collaborate well with wellness retreat leaders, or you go to wellness retreats and blog about them. Or maybe outdoor adventure types of individuals. So maybe they're either working at an outdoor adventure place and you want to collab because you want to go there and you want to blog about it. Or if you have other partners, you could cross promote each other's blogs, and maybe you post about outdoor hiking and they post about outdoor pickleball or something like that, but you guys both have an audience interested in outdoor activities and being active, so we might be good collab partners. So we want to send connection requests on LinkedIn every week to expand our network, to expand the eyeballs seeing your posts. Now, one way you can do that really easily with the free account on LinkedIn is to use the search bar at the top. When you log into LinkedIn, on the left here, you see travel lifestyle, where I typed that in. That's the search bar. So you can put in a job title you're looking for, like travel lifestyle blogger, or if you're looking for other bloggers to collaborate with, you could put in travel podcast host. You could put in whatever job title it is that you think might be a good potential collab partner for you. And then click the people tab to see people who you have mutual connections with, or just people who have that title in their profile. Start by connecting with people you have mutual connections with, and then keep expanding to people maybe you don't have mutual connections with. But always start with people you have mutual connections with, because they're going to be more likely to accept your connection request. Not to say that people who don't have anything in common with you won't accept your request, but you'll just have a higher conversion rate with people who you do have something in common with. Now, the other thing is we can look at groups to find our target partners or people we want to connect with. So I typed in travel lifestyle because I was curious if there were any LinkedIn groups where the members within that group might be good collab partners if I was a blogger, a travel blogger. So what you'll see is all these great groups to join. And when you join them and get accepted, you can go to what we call the members list. So this is on the right side. When you join a group, you'll see it on the right side. It'll say like members in this group, and you click it. And these are all the members. So you can look through here and see who might be good collab partners for me. And this is what it will look like. Obviously, it'll be different types of members. And this was just from a general entrepreneurship group I was in, but yours will be whatever group you were in and the members in that group. Growth strategy number 2, after you've sent some connection requests, we have to actually connect with them. We have to be social with them. So to give you an example, when somebody accepts your connection request, I recommend sending a message to start the conversation and express your interest in collaborating or partnering. This is a real example of a message I got on LinkedIn that actually turned into us doing a podcast swap and collaborating and cross-promoting. So this person sent me a message that said, "Hey, Hailey, hope you're well. Came across your profile. We had a couple mutual connections. I enjoy connecting with like-minded business owners and thought I would reach out to connect. Looking forward to chatting further." And what I said, because I looked at his profile, I could see he had a podcast. I could see we had a similar audience. So I said, "Thank you, you too. Maybe we could explore podcasts together." And he said yes, and we did. So as you can see, it was as simple as 2 messages back and forth, and then we became collab partners. So you can do the same thing in your travel blogging business, and make sure that when you're engaging with people, you can personalize it a little bit. So in other words, you can say what it is that you like about their mission or what they're doing or who they're working with. You can find any common ground you guys have in common. Maybe you were both part of the same summit. Maybe you have mutual friends. Maybe not, but if you do, you can mention that. You can ask, would you be open to exploring a collaboration of some kind? That's always a great way to start the conversation and see what kind of collab you guys can do together to grow each other's blogs or businesses. And you can share your ideas for collabs, meaning you could say, perhaps we could explore a podcast interview, a social media shout out where you guys tag each other and cross promote, or a guest blog swap where you write each other something for each other's blogs. So that is how you start to connect with people and get more eyeballs on your stuff, is by cross-promoting with other leaders in your space. And you can make those connections and start those conversations on LinkedIn. Growth strategy number 3 is to post with good calls to action. What I mean by that is, don't just post and say, here's my blog, here's a link. We need to drive people to your blog in a compelling way. Why would they want to look at it? But also, we want to include a call to action at the bottom of our post, ideally that invites people to engage on our post, because LinkedIn likes it when you get comments on your post. So here's a couple pro tips. Number 1 Make your post about 8 lines or more so that the read more or see more button gets clicked, and that tells LinkedIn, wow, people are spending a lot of time on this post. They seem to like it. Then make sure that at the bottom of your post, you try to add an engagement question to get people to comment on your post. So if you shared one of your blog posts that's 3 tips for hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, you could add a question at the bottom saying, hey guys, which tip did I miss for those of you who've hiked it? Or, which tip are you going to try? And the other thing you could do is as simple as let me know your thoughts. Like if you shared your favorite restaurant in New York City, you could say, what's your favorite restaurant in New York City? Or what did I miss on my restaurant list or whatever? So do give calls to engage, and remember consistency over volume. So it's better on LinkedIn to choose a regular amount of times per week you can post, instead of saying I'm going to post 5 times a week one week, 2 times a week the next week, 3 times a week the next week. You want to just pick 3 times a week every week, or twice a week every week. Or even if you have to start with just once a week, that's totally fine, but be consistent. Now, with your posts, here is a bit of a formula you can follow. Number 1 is you want to start every post with a hook or headline. What makes people want to keep reading your post and keep checking out your blog regularly? So you could start let's say you wrote a blog about your luxury trip to Hawaii. You could start your post with a hook that makes people want to keep reading the next line. So it could be as simple as, I almost didn't have a place to stay when I went to Hawaii. Or here's the, surprising luxury resort you've missed in Maui, or whatever it is, but something that generates curiosity and makes them want to keep reading. Then you have a story or the value you're going to give. Now, sometimes the story and the value can be interchangeable, but you want to have a meat section of your post that elaborates on the hook. And then you finish it off with a call to action, or CTA. So let's dive into a real example. You start with your hook, so you could say something like, don't miss this hidden gem in Italy. And notice I'm not sharing what it is because I want them to keep reading the post. Then we go into our quick story, travel tip, or lesson that connects emotionally. So it could be a sentence or 2. It doesn't have to be long. You could say, on my last trip to Tuscany, I almost skipped a small town called whatever it was called. Turns out it was a highlight of my trip. I found the best gelato in the world there. And then you go into your value nugget, which is I put together a list of the 5 most underrated Tuscan towns, where to eat, where to stay, that most tourists don't tell you, or whatever it is. I put together, my top 5 underrated places to eat, whatever it is. And then you could say, if you're planning a trip to Italy and don't want to miss the real magic, you'll love this guide, or you'll love this freebie, or whatever it is, and put the link, or say link in the comments and put it in the comments if you want to have LinkedIn push your post out to more people, because sometimes it doesn't like when you put a link in the actual caption. It's fine to put it in the comments, just say link in the comments, and that could be it. And then the call to engage is go check it out and let me know which place you want to visit first. Or you could swap that out with something else. But you see the structure here. Now, if you are listening to this and you're wanting to get started on LinkedIn, here is a recap of your next steps. Optimize your profile, doing the things we talked about. Send up to 100 connection requests per week. That's the maximum you can do. So don't worry if you can't start there. Start with 5 a week. But you can work your way up to a total of 100 per week if you have a free account. And you can connect with your connections with the message examples I showed you and start to post consistently. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm Hailey Rowe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, now I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you feel inspired and empowered to utilize the powers of LinkedIn to grow your traffic and visibility. Don't forget to grab access to the free Travel Blogger resource library linked in the video description or via the QR code on your screen. There are a ton of resources in there on growing your community and increasing your blogging profits, including a LinkedIn traffic cheat sheet based on today's workshop. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos sharing these strategies for bloggers who want to turn their blogs into profitable full-time businesses. Happy blogging!